Hello, everybody, and welcome to McRADcast Reviews. Today, me and Josh are going to be talking about The Mandalorian, which you can watch on Disney+.
Yeah, for, pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, and if you have, I didn't know this, if you have Verizon Unlimited data plan, you get 12 months for free. I don't know if that's still a promotion.
Yeah, it still is.
But,
I got a message from them the other day.
Cool. Yeah, and that's the reason I have it, because I wasn't going to pay for a new service, but I have that, and so it...
And if you have Hulu already, because they're owned mostly by Disney at this point, I think they have a majority ownership of Hulu, so you can also get into that, where you have the Hulu Disney Plus package, and they'll give you a discount for having a bundle with that and ESPN Plus as well. So if you're a MMA fan, that's the only way to get the fight cards anymore.
Plus, Disney Plus has greats like Blank Check and
the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, so get in on it. We just left the Waffle House where we had a luxurious breakfast.
Luxurious.
And as I was leaving, there was a couple coming in that I can only assume was coming from church.
Oh.
And I look like I live in a trailer, but like a nice, like a double wide.
Yeah.
And I probably own it. Like I don't rent it.
Yep.
Maybe even like the landlord of a trailer park.
Oh, man, that's a good one. I like that. Yeah. Like
and I'm not casting
trailer
aspersions
park
here.
suburbs.
Yeah. The mobile. Anyway, yeah. And they judged me a little. I saw it in their eyes when they came in.
Yeah, they're all about not judging, but they do it a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But I didn't feel any type of way about it. I was like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, Mandalorian though.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So we're gonna talk about the Mandalorian. Just give you some general thoughts, and we're not gonna. I don't even know if we'll get into any spoilers at all. If we do, we'll spoiler alert you and let you know. But for the most part, I think we're just gonna give general thoughts and what we, just kind of how we feel about it.
Yeah, if we get into specifics, we'll just pause it there and then spoiler alert you, and then go into specifics.
Yep.
But overall, what were your thoughts?
So, I thought it was really good. For the most part, I think the idea was solid, and
I thought the execution
definitely, but
was mostly solid. I mean, obviously, when you get into the weeds, the details of things, especially with that universe, it's very touchy, right?
I also want to preface this by saying I'm not like a super Star Wars nerd.
Yeah,
I really like it.
I love the world and the universe, and I go watch all the movies, and I love, I wear a Mandalorian hat literally every day. It's mostly because I like the colors of the hat and the symbol, and I do like the Mandalorian lore. But
yeah, so I'm not. I love the original trilogy just because of the age bracket that I'm in.
It's nostalgia at that point.
But just to give you a full kind of, and we're not reviewing those, but I don't like the prequels, and I haven't really cared for the newest trilogy too much.
Yeah.
But I don't. If you like them, hey, that's great. I'm not telling you you're wrong for that.
Listen, we're always going to say in this particular version of our podcast, the reviews part, just because we don't like a thing doesn't mean you shouldn't like a thing. There's so much entertainment to be had these days that everyone should be able to find something they like. This is just, I think we like a pretty wide range of things.
Yeah.
And so I think we have a pretty good idea of what's good and bad, at least the way it's done, how it was produced and shot and all of those things. And this particular thing, it was really well done in that it stayed closer to the original trilogy as far as feel than anything they've put out since.
Sure.
Because even Rogue One was really good, but it didn't feel like the original trilogy. It felt like a newer movie.
Yeah, which I thought they pulled that off really well.
I thought it was really well done. I loved the movie. It's one of the better movies they put out since the original trilogy, obviously. But the feel of that movie did not feel like the original trilogy.
Sure, no.
Right? It, like the effects, all of that. They did a lot of practical effects in The Mandalorian, and it made it feel, the Baby Yoda was an animatronic Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
And Baker insisted on that, basically, right? Because they were consulting him. He's retired, obviously. But when asked about it, he was like, because I think Favreau had mentioned to somebody I had read that he was thinking about, because of the complications of running the puppet basically all the time. He was like, I'm thinking about just CG in that thing, and they was like, do not do it.
Yeah.
And Favreau, in my opinion, is borderline genius as far as I trust him on a lot of things. The new Lion King, not so much.
Yeah, that shit sucked.
I think, but let's go into that weeds real quick before we get back to The Mandalorian. I think Jon Favreau is smart. I think he knew in order to do The Mandalorian, which was something he really probably was interested in doing, he knew that he had to do The Lion King.
Yeah, maybe. And I don't want to. I don't know what his motive was, but yeah, I think that's probably pretty fair.
I think there's some form of currency sometimes whenever you're dealing with these large studios that you have to kind of do the things you don't want to do in order to do the things you want to do.
Like do the job part of it and then do the passion part of it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Favreau is I think he's incredible at what he does. Obviously, he brought us the Iron Man stuff that was really great.
Yeah, I think he's the godfather of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, he did a really good job with it. But overall, I did like The Mandalorian. For me, it almost at this point kind of depends on where they go into the next season.
Yeah.
Because I will be upfront about, didn't love Baby Yoda.
Oh, yeah, and I'm the other way with it. I was like a sucker for Baby Yoda, right?
I mean, I think he's obviously cute as hell, and like his comic relief in it was really great. It was silly, but it was done really well.
Yes.
And I liked it. But I'm just like, well, what's the end game? Because if it's just for him to be cute and funny, like I don't care anymore. I just don't care.
I get it.
But it had this. So the overall thing, it had this very, and this isn't. I'm sure a million people have said this. I made this connection, but it has this very like old school, like kung fu,
Western, vibe to it.
That travel from place to place, and he's like the loner and all that stuff. I thought that was it came across really cool, and it was like that very like episodic, like you almost didn't have to watch it in order. I mean, you should, but
and I also think that they did a really good job of giving almost every demographic a character in this, right? Without forcing it.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, and you're right about that, but there's one cameo in it, and I don't think it's a spoiler that the actor is in it. Is that a spoiler?
Nah, it's been a while.
There's one cameo in it, and I love this guy, but I didn't like his character that much, and it's Bill Burr.
Yes.
I love Bill Burr.
I was distracted because it was Bill Burr the whole time.
Yeah. So
but that's only. I bet if you're not a Bill Burr fan and you don't know who he is, you probably wouldn't be that way.
I would like someone's input on that. So if you saw the show or are going to see it, and you see his character, he's the guy who's clearly from Boston. Even in the
he's a Bostonian in space.
Yeah. So I would.
He's got like a mechanical gun arm and stuff like that on his backpack and stuff like. And you'll know who he is when you see it, and you've probably already seen it. Almost everybody's already seen it. It's incredible.
I would love though to hear someone's perspective who doesn't know who Bill Burr is.
Yeah, if they thought he was bad,
because I was like, I don't know if I like this or not. I think
I loved. Like I was giddy when I saw Bill Burr. I was like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
And then
I don't, and I hope it's not because I don't want to do this thing where, and Bill Burr doesn't give a shit about me, but I would want to do a thing where I'm like, stay in your lane and comedy, because if he's acting and making money, that's great, because I love the guy.
He was in Breaking Bad too.
Sure, but I just think I don't know. I don't know for me what it was, and it might have just been that I know who he is. So he has this.
To me, he didn't act well enough to separate him from Bill Burr.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's not that he's a bad actor necessarily. He might have just fit that character well enough that they set Bill Burr into the character, because literally the character was just an asshole, right? He's just Bill Burr. And I thought that he probably pulled the character off well for what they were looking for, but for somebody who's a fan of Bill Burr, I used to listen to his podcast regularly. And so, but I've just lost a lot of time, and so I have shrunk my podcast listening so much.
I'm all over the place with it, but I feel you.
See, I'm more honed in. I have found the things that I get the most information from, and so I listen to those things most often. But Bill has such a wide range of things he likes and likes to talk about on his podcast, and it's a unique podcast in the way that he just literally rants into the microphone by himself all the time. And so that's once you've listened to so many episodes of that, that's Bill Burr, right? And so that character was Bill Burr in the show. But yeah, you're right. I also was unimpressed with the dude from Breaking Bad at the end, the big time drug dealer.
Oh, what's that guy's name? You
should probably look this stuff up.
Yeah.
He was Moff Gideon at the very end of the show.
Yes,
I know. He was kind of I know the character name, but I don't know the actor name.
He was kind of the arch villain type, the big baddie.
Yeah, at the very end, and I hated how they pulled that off. To be honest with you, one won't go into details, but I was not a fan of the end of the show in that aspect.
When he revealed himself,
I was excited.
Well, I wasn't. It didn't feel when he did. At first I was like, oh, cool, I like this guy. but then it didn't feel like he fit that character. Like, it's almost like maybe this is it, and this might be the same with Bill Burr. Maybe I just don't believe them in a sci-fi setting. Maybe that's it.
Maybe.
Whereas everyone else came across pretty natural, pretty...
Yeah, like MMA lady, the...
Carano.
Yeah, Gina Carano. I thought she did a
awesome.
really, really good job with the character.
Yeah, so I think that's what it was for me. I was like, I don't know if I'm used to seeing them in a different style, and maybe the sci-fi thing threw me off or something.
I don't know. I honestly thought that I liked Moff Gideon. I like him as an actor. I like how he presented as a bad guy in everything he's ever been in, basically. You know what I mean? He is an archetype bad guy.
Yeah, for sure. And he pulled that off well. He wasn't bad. I just
didn't like I didn't like how they wrote it, and you know what I mean? I didn't like how they wrote several of his lines and the scenes that he was in and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it came across very cliche.
Yeah, he was
like a lot of cliche tropes.
And there was a lot of cliche tropes in the whole show.
Well, you're gonna have that in a sci-fi anything, especially in a Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of it. But the way they execute him, I think, and the way they executed his, and I know what you're talking about, and I don't want to talk directly about it, but yeah, it was like, really? Because it didn't, what they were trying to solve, it didn't solve at all. It was just like, well, we could have just skipped that part.
You could have absolutely skipped the plot hole that they built into the show.
Right.
Because they literally skipped it immediately.
Yeah. So basically, in light spoiler, I was going to say light spoiler, they basically did the thing where the villain reveals his plan to the protagonist and gives them like
a time limit,
a
deadline.
Yeah, and that was like, why? Like, just because it didn't.
He had him cornered effectively, and said
because there was nothing after that. Like, there was no substance after that. It just cut to the after the time limit was up, and it was like, well, what did we?
Well, it wasn't after the time limit was up. It was just the cavalry arrived effectively.
Sure.
But why do the thing where you give them a time limit if the cavalry's just going to arrive?
Sure.
Because there's no point in the bad guy giving them a time limit.
Yep.
Because he has all of the cards.
Yeah, it was definitely a weird.
It was a weird moment for sure.
Just like it just didn't feel natural. No, and then I took issue too with some of the CG effects because they weren't, and it wasn't because they were cheesy. Because I can embrace that.
I love the cheesy. Some of the cheesy effects were great.
Well, hold on though. I can embrace the cheesy effects if they're consistently cheesy.
Oh yeah.
But they had some badass ones, and then like and I was like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah,
like did you blow your budget on this one thing, and then you had to do this, and you were like, oh, just put this. Like, it didn't feel consistent.
Yeah,
and I'm a big person about that with anything.
I think if you go back to the original trilogy, that they were kind of that way though.
No, they were the original, yeah, but at a time when...
Well, I think they also had some, like, really good-looking effects. Like,
for the time.
Yeah, and then they also had some really... Like, you know, when Luke swings across the thing with Leia, that's one of the cheesiest things I've ever seen in my whole life.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Of course.
And it looks fake.
But I don't think there's any... I don't think that maybe the gap and inconsistency in the original trilogy ever reaches what it did at what I saw.
Oh yeah.
Because there's this part where, and this is no spoiler, but there's a very particular part with a lightsaber cutting.
Oh, good God.
Metal.
It wasn't a lightsaber though. Somebody informed me that it was some kind of special sword or something stupid shit.
Whatever. It looked so bad.
It was pretty rough.
And it was
I'll agree. Might have been the worst part of the whole show.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was kind of a big moment.
Yeah.
So it was like, what is this?
A big revealing moment. So it was awful. Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of took me out of it. And by the end I was almost like, I just wanted it to be over.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, I get it.
But it also, they didn't do like a big cliffhanger. Like where it's like, it wasn't like a thing where like, I got to know what happens directly after this.
Yeah.
But
matter of fact, they could never do another episode again.
Yeah.
And it would be a satisfactory ending.
Sure.
And I think that's how every show should end their finale.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
But if that's the case, I would say I don't like it because I need to know where they're going with this Baby Yoda thing.
Yeah.
Like, it has to go somewhere for me, or I'm just...
Yeah, they got to give him a name soon.
Yeah, something has to happen.
We got to stop calling him Baby Yoda.
Sure.
Because there's too many assholes on the internet. Well, it's not Baby Yoda.
Well, it's funny because I had that thought originally, but I didn't externalize it because I was like, that's like a nitpicky thing.
Yeah.
But like there were the neckbeard.
Actually,
there were the neckbeard. Actually, guys,
yeah.
It's like, yeah, we know, dude.
We get it, dude. No, but what do you call him?
Exactly.
The little green dude that looks exactly like fucking Yoda.
And he is super cute.
The cutest little shit of all time.
I think my favorite I think my favorite part of his comic relief was the sipping the soup thing. It was so funny to me, man.
My gosh.
And it's such a cheesy thing, but it was so. It's like that misdirect, but so like usually you can see a misdirect coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I know where they're going with this. I had no idea, and then it's just him like sipping the soup. Yeah. Like, what are y'all doing?
And as a nerd, like I'm not like uber nerd, but I'm a nerd. Mm-hmm. And as a nerd, one of the coolest things in the whole show is the art at the end of the show.
Yeah. They was really cool.
Fucking cool, man.
And it all tied the episode together.
It was literally the concept art for the episode.
Yeah. What I liked about it too is in what you just said was being the concept art. It didn't match up totally to the characters, and I thought that was the coolest thing. Yes. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. It was almost like a really well done storyboard or something.
Yes,
it was
really exactly cool. What it was, and it was awesome.
And the music was cool. Yes, like it was in the wheelhouse of Star Wars, but it had that
Western twang to it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think overall, it was cool. You should watch it. It
highly recommended. Yeah. You know, even if you come away going, it's all right. I think it's worth your time.
I really like, too, that we start to see kind of more in depth about the Mandalorian culture. Oh, right? Yeah. They don't explain every little thing, but enough.
But the fact that it's basically a religion, and it's
this is the way. Yeah, that whole
they
mantra.
Keep shoving it in your face over and over, and I like it a lot.
And I like the bit about kind of upgrading the armor.
Yep.
And this isn't really a spoiler. I mean, this is pretty much throughout the show, so I don't think we're spoiling anything there. But it's like, you do a thing, you get like new ranks and all these things, and proving yourself basically. Yeah. But yeah, I thought, and the guy who played Pedro Pascal, I think his name.
Yeah, the guy from Game of Thrones, the dude who got his skull smashed in Game of Thrones.
Viper.
Yeah, the Viper.
Oberyn Martell, was that his name?
Oberyn Martell.
Yeah, great character there too. So that guy's really good. He's also in Narcos.
Yes.
And he's really great in that.
Yes.
So really great actor. Yeah, that guy's really
I got
really
yelled at yesterday for not watching the Narcos Mexico.
We talked about that a little bit in our podcast episode. And I haven't seen it either. I've seen the original series, Narcos series. Yeah, and I liked it.
I haven't seen the new Mexico because my buddy was like, hey, actually Tanner was like, hey, you seen that new season of Narcos Mexico dropped? And I was like, I did not see season 1 yet, so it's hard to see season 2.
Man, I'm the worst because I don't do the thing where I have to see something immediately. Mm-hmm. And people get bummed about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen Letterkenny season 84 or whatever. Yeah. And everybody's super pissed because they want to talk to me about it, and they're like, they want to make the jokes, you know what I mean? Because that's the thing about Letterkenny.
Sure. Like, it ain't a spoiler, it's just knowing the joke or whatever.
Yeah, you want to know the joke.
So anyway, reeling her back into the Mandalorian, I thought it was cool, man. They had a lot of cool cameos, a lot of cool characters, a lot of cool little...
they brought Carl Weathers.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. Who was the kid that played he was like the bounty hunter who he was like on the mission with him, and there was kind of the double cross, triple cross.
No, I don't know.
Who was it?
I don't know.
Am I talking about something else?
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Jesus, okay.
I don't know.
Well, I don't want to say anything, and I feel like it'll be spoiler.
Let's be honest, Nick Nolte stole the show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. His character absolutely stole the show. It was incredible. I have spoken is one of the greatest fucking taglines of all time.
Yeah, man, and that character was great.
Yeah, it was great.
And I don't want to give any spoilers on that at all because you got to just experience that whole thing. Yeah. But yeah, I have spoken. Yeah, it's like became a meme instantly. Yep.
Absolutely,
really good stuff. But yeah, watch The Mandalorian. You won't regret it. It's 7 episodes? 8 episodes.
I think it's 8.
And they're all about an hour, I think.
40 to 45 minutes in there, yeah.
And they're easy to consume because there is kind of a story going on, but it's nothing like like I said, I feel like it's one of those shows that if it was in syndication and like it was showing reruns, you could literally just watch any episode. You would
for sure.
It would be entertaining.
I think you would be fine. Yeah.
But I am interested to see where they take it because there's no way they're not going to do a second season. I can't imagine.
No. It's literally releasing in the fall.
Okay, cool.
Of this year.
So I don't even know
Yes, the fall of this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I have concerns about that because it's too fast of a turnaround.
Well, they might have already been shooting. You know what I mean? It might have been one of those things.
Yeah, maybe. Know. I hope. Yeah. And Jon Favreau is pretty good about that. About the reason he didn't do Iron Man 2 is because he didn't think they were giving him enough time.
Oh, that's right.
And so he literally started the Marvel Universe with this success. His brilliance
great
was Iron Man 1. And without that movie, we don't get any of the rest of them, in my opinion. But, they can say they had the ideas and the plan, but Feige wasn't even really around at that time.
Sure.
Right? It was really just Jon Favreau had a passion project, put an alcoholic Robert Downey Jr. in his alcoholic role, and it just nailed it, right? And so in Favreau, I trust to some extent.
Yeah, so we even talked about this a little bit before, that we kind of wish that Favreau would have done the new trilogy. Yeah. And I mean, I know that it doesn't work that way, but it would have been cool to see what he would.
I wish they would give him the newest new trilogy that's about to come out.
Yeah, maybe with the newest new trilogy that they're talking about, it's not going to be tied to the old stuff. So maybe we can start new, and I can start to appreciate something more, because a lot of the reasons I don't dig the newer stuff is I don't think they're that good at movies, honestly. I really don't. Like, I think that, and the reason I say that is because they wrote them knowing they were going to be a trilogy.
Yep.
But apparently, and I haven't seen the newest one, and I'm not like rushing to see it or whatever. But apparently they abandoned, just like Game of Thrones did, they abandoned all these plot lines just to tie up the package. And like, to me, that's where you go, because people go, well, just as an action movie. I'm like, well, but it's part of a story. Like, you have to put that in there. Like, if it was just a one-off action movie, that's different.
I honestly think the third one is the best in the trilogy.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, that's not saying a lot.
Like, I didn't hate the first one. A lot of people hated that one. I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it either.
The second one I hated.
The second one everyone hated. I hated a lot less than everyone else, but I still didn't. I wasn't like, wow.
I can even pinpoint little stuff that's like nitpicky that made me hate it. And people are like that. I'm like, yeah. Like when they're like when he's like blasting the shit out of Luke Skywalker with the walker.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to him and he just like brushes his shoulder off. I was like, get the hell out of here. Yeah. Like, I'm just done with
There's so much wrong with those
like,
movies.
What a stupid thing. Like,
and we could nitpick, newer movies, especially. And that's the problem. I'm just going to PSA here. I hate that all they do anymore is rehash things.
Yeah, sure.
If we could not complain about things if they weren't nostalgic to us and important to us to complain about. Nobody's complaining about Avatar.
Right.
It's new.
Because there's nothing to compare it against.
No. Yeah. There's nothing to compare it to. So stop with this Lion King live action. Stop with the live action everything. Stop with
they're doing live action of like every Disney movie ever.
Avatar The Last Airbender is one of my favorite shows of all time, period, bar none. If you talk bad about it, I'll kick you in the throat kind of thing, right? They did a movie about it. M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong did it.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yep. And the reason he's one of my least favorite directors of all time is not because the rest of his movies mostly suck. It's because of that. He ruined that movie.
Unbreakable was really good.
Yeah, no, I actually like what's the newest one? Glass?
Oh, I don't know.
I liked Glass.
Well, that's like the continuation of Unbreakable.
It's actually Unbreakable and the one with the Beast in it too.
Oh, I like that movie too. Because I like that guy a lot. What's his name? James McAvoy. Yeah, that dude's a killer in that movie.
Actually
Split.
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
Glass actually brings all three of the characters together. Nice. Sam Jackson, McAvoy, and Bruce Willis are all in that movie together.
I need to watch that.
It's a really good movie.
We've really gone off the rails with The Mandalorian.
It's fine. It's our podcast. We do what we want.
So, to wrap this thing up and put a little bow on it, go watch The Mandalorian if you haven't. If you have, let us know. And once again, if you don't know Bill Burr as a comedian or you don't know him prior to the show, search his character and tell us what you think about it. And you can do that either on our Facebook, the McRADcast, or you can send me an email at stayradpodcast@gmail.com. One thing I do want to add, because we're talking about Netflix and series and rehashing, Kevin Smith is doing that He-Man Masters of the Universe thing. I'm excited. At first I wasn't, because I didn't know
they got a big cast going now, right?
Yes. So here's the thing. Same animation company that did Castlevania, so it's going to be an anime style.
Oh, wow.
But it's going to be a direct continuation of the Masters of the Universe.
Whoa.
Like Funimation, is that the company that did that show? But dude, it is a powerhouse. So you got Mark Hamill, you got Henry Rollins, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah.
I was reading earlier, there's a bunch of cool people. It's going to be awesome.
And here's the crazy thing is Kevin Smith is an icon in a lot of ways, but not really successful in a lot of ways, right? Like, not like Uber director. He doesn't have a blockbuster movie to his name.
Well, maybe not, but I think that he's still on the level of those people.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. But you ask the average person, and they're like, okay, whatever, dude. Mm-hmm. He's not.
Sure.
He's not on
more of a cult thing. Than
yes.
Sure.
He definitely is an underground guy. Had to struggle to get funding for a lot of his movies and that sort of thing.
Right.
Self-fund and weird shit like that. And so he always just does passion projects, and that's why I will trust Kevin Smith to do one of these properties.
Oh yeah, well
because he's not going to half-ass it.
Well, yeah, and that's his
if
thing.
They told me Kevin Smith was doing a comic book movie, I would sign on immediately to watch that movie.
Because he's like a purist and he does want to put that.
He's not worried about how much money it's going to make.
Sure, and that's cool.
Yes,
but I'm excited about that. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the anime aesthetic, but there are definitely some of them that I like, and especially that Castlevania style, because it has more. It is anime, but it's not like the super Japanese anime. If that makes sense.
Oh man, that stuff bothers me.
I just can't. It doesn't do anything
over
for me.
The top thing.
Yeah. And I mean, if that's your thing, cool. It's an aesthetic thing for me, like just the visuals alone.
A lot of my friends are giant anime fans, and I don't disparage them at all. But
I've tried. I've given it, and like even at like different points in my life, I'm like, I'm gonna try this, and I just can't watch it.
Yeah, it's not.
Doesn't do it for me.
I mean, I've seen a few that were good, but
especially if I got to read a bunch of words.
Yeah. Hey, spoiler alert, real quick for The Mandalorian, since we've already pretty much been over it. So
spoiler alert.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to you on this one scene that I thought was amazing, and everybody else just was like, meh. It was the one with the two Stormspeeder bike stormtrooper guys.
Oh, I loved it. Just the banter between them or whatever?
Because you never see stormtroopers bantering.
Like they're supposed to be super serious or something?
Yes, you never see them banter. It's like never ever back and forth banter, right?
And I also
it's always
like
one line here, one line there. It's never anything serious.
But it's still like in that voice, like coming through a walkie-talkie because they're in the helmets or whatever.
Yes.
He's like, let me see it. And he's like, no, man. And then they keep punching Baby Yoda.
And it's like such a weird scene. It's like surreal for a moment, and I was like, "Why is this so weird right now?" And then it's like because they're stormtroopers and they're talking, and we've never seen it before.
Yeah, it's cool. I thought it was good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it I don't know. I've never seen the Clone Wars series and all that stuff.
Really good.
So they may have had stormtroopers talking before. I don't know.
Not like that. No, just
shooting the shit of the water cooler, also known as Baby Yoda, who they punch a couple times, and literally during that scene, everyone that I watched it with had like the same visceral reaction, like, bitch, punch him again, see if I don't come kick that ass.
I'm separating myself from that.
Yeah?
Yeah. Baby Yoda better prove himself in season 2. I'm just saying, like, I'm tired. I'm over it. I'm tired of it.
I thought he was brilliant. I loved him.
He might be. I don't know. We don't know yet. Right now he's just a
I might be.
Right, yeah. Right now he's just a cute little green thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't care enough about that yet. Like, he might be awesome. We'll see. I hope so.
I'm obsessed with him.
All right, everybody, go watch The Mandalorian. Let us know what you think. We'll be doing these reviews, whenever, just kind of periodically. We'll pick stuff to watch, and a lot of it will depend on what we have time to watch and things like that.
Yeah, we got to slip a movie in every now and then instead of a show.
Yeah, sometimes those series are a little tougher too, because if it's like a 7-season thing, you almost have to do like a season or so. I don't know how we do that.
We've got plans for Altered Carbon. I think,
and
I think we're going to review season 1, and then as soon as season 2 hits, review it as well.
Altered Carbon. So if you guys haven't watched it, it's a really cool show. Go check it out on Netflix. It's a very dystopian future sci-fi,
really well done, murder mystery style.
Think like Philip K. Dick style, Blade Runner.
Yeah,
that kind of feel. But it's really, really good. Go watch it. We're going to review season 1 of that, and then season 2 drops later this month, I think.
Yeah.
And then, in February. I don't know when this is going to release.
Yeah, it'll probably be shortly after season 2 that this releases, and then a couple weeks later we'll release the...
So Altered Carbon will be cool. But yeah, check out The Mandalorian. Let us know what you think, and keep on listening. Check us out on the social media at the McRADcast. And we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we'll keep you guys informed on what we're going to be doing through that as well when new episodes launch and all that good stuff. So, yep, thanks for listening, and always remember to stay rad.